Title: My Experience with the 50-30-20 Budgeting Method Over a Month. Actual Outcomes. Imagine the scenario where your salary hits your account. You glance at your banking app, see the balance, and everything seems fine for now. However, spending soon begins. You pay rent, buy groceries, maintain a few subscriptions, and perhaps order takeout several times throughout the week. Suddenly, the funds appear to evaporate. The internet is filled with advice such as, just budget more effectively, track every dollar, curb your expenditure. These suggestions sound appealing in theory, but practically, individuals typically give the budgeting attempt about 3 days before they quit. Detailed financial tracking can prove to be tiresome. It demands watching every cent, categorizing each expense, scrutinizing every transaction, and realistically, the patience required is something many lack. I started pondering if there might be a more straightforward approach that truly delivers results. This led me to try the 50-30-20 rule over a period of 30 days, and the results genuinely surprised me. I'm Jack. If budgeting has never quite worked for you, or if your funds seem to vanish month after month, subscribe and like this video if it provides you any assistance. So what exactly is the 50-30-20 rule? Despite its complex-sounding name, the concept is incredibly straightforward. You allocate your income into 3 portions: 50% for needs, 30% for desires, and 20% for saving and investing. That's it. No intricate spreadsheets, no need to track 40 different expense categories, just 3 simple buckets. Now here's the rationale. Needs cover essential expenditures necessary for living. This includes your rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, transportation, and insurance. Wants encompass dining, entertainment, shopping, travel, basically things that enhance life but are not essential. The final 20% is directed towards saving, investing, or reducing debt. Before I embraced this concept, skepticism had the better of me. Online financial advice often sounds impressive but tends to crumble under real-life conditions. Regardless, I was determined to assess it sincerely. Let's crunch some numbers. Suppose an individual earns $4,000 monthly after taxes. Under the 50-30-20 guideline, their budget breaks down to $2,000 for needs, $1,200 for wants, and $800 for saving and investing. Straightforward, no ambiguity. However, here's where it truly gets intriguing. Upon initially reviewing my spending habits, it bore little resemblance to that model. The typical assumption is that primary expenses revolve around rent or groceries. Yet studies from the Bureau of Labor Statistics signify that discretionary costs, like dining out, subscriptions, and entertainment, can surprisingly consume a large chunk of income. The issue lies in how these expenses, though individually minor, accumulate swiftly. Consider frequent $15 meals, $20 subscriptions, $30 dining deliveries. Over a week, these accumulate to substantial amounts, mostly unnoticed. Throughout the subsequent 30 days, I adhered to the 50-30-20 principle as stringently as feasible. Here's what unfolded. The first realization was gaining awareness, not about detailed budgeting, but awareness. Knowing a fixed amount is allocated for desires makes your brain naturally prioritize. Mindless spending gradually transforms into deliberate inquiry. Do I truly value this over something else anticipated later this week? This subtle alteration significantly affects behavior. You might ponder, but Jack, what if my necessity expenses exceed 50% of my income? A valid concern, particularly for individuals in pricey urban areas where housing often surpasses this threshold. The 50-30-20 rule should not be seen as a perfect solution. It serves as a guide. Even an altered 60-20-20 allocation can substantially aid financial organization. The emphasis is on balance, not absolute precision. Now, onto the most intriguing experiment insight, the 20% saving rule. This is where the figures become compelling. Reverting to the $4,000 monthly income scenario, setting aside 20% means saving $800 monthly. This accounts to $9,600 annually. Envision investing this with an average annual return rate of 8%. Over 20 years, such savings grow to about $450,000. That's the brilliance, not through luck, but through steady saving and investing. Here's where it captivates further. Financial failures often arise, not from poor investments, but from not allocating space for investments to begin with. Unexpectedly, the psychological takeaway was that the 50-30-20 framework eased spending concerns. Rather than enduring persistent guilt over purchases, I had predetermined allowances. If it was categorized under wants, it was accounted for. No guilt, no tension, just logical spending. Allow me to present a simple analogy. Money is commonly handled like an untidy closet where everything is stashed haphazardly. Ultimately, it becomes arduous to find anything. The 50-30-20 approach functions like three orderly shelves: needs, wants, savings, all well placed. Financial disorder is thus more manageable. Yet many fail to acknowledge this. The core benefit isn't in the percentages, it's in gaining clarity. When financial decisions are lucid, behavioral improvements follow naturally. Continuous willpower is unnecessary. The structure supports you. After dedicating 30 days to this principle, these transformations emerged. Primarily, I became far more perceptive of spending patterns. Secondly, saving felt effortless, not a hardship. Lastly, financial decision-making became substantially less taxing, perhaps the most invaluable advantage. So, is the 50-30-20 rule flawless? Certainly not, yet it's a vast improvement compared to lacking any structured system. Often, the biggest financial misstep isn't overspending, but proceeding without a coherent framework. Should you wish to experiment with this, begin by assessing your monthly income, then distribute it across the three categories. Monitor your spending over the next month. The discoveries may astonish you. Once your financial habits adopt a straightforward order, something significant happens. You cease to wonder where the money went and start deliberately guiding it. If you found this documentation insightful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And here's my question. Do you adhere to a budgeting strategy, or do you simply hope for the best with your spending? Share your thoughts in the comments. Often, enhancing your financial situation doesn't demand elaborate schemes. Occasionally, one consistent rule suffices. For those earnestly aiming to enhance their finances, explore additional content from Jack Explains Money. Just one new financial insight can revolutionize your approach to saving, spending, and investing. Your future self will thank you for it.